All right, Bogey and Wojo with you, 97 on the ticket. Lot to get into until 6 o'clock. Of course, NCAA tournament coming up. And we will get to the negotiations that I think are probably most important right now across most households. We'll do that coming up, say, 2:45.
You have me intrigued on that one.
Thank you very much. We did want to lead with these Miguel Cabrera comments. And in my mind, they bothered me for one reason. But I want to present them first. And then, of course, we'll get to a question for Tigers fans and really just Detroit fans in general. Cabrera did an interview with ESPN's Jerry Krasnick. So, I mean, who knows how accurate it is. It is an interview with ESPN. I'm just kidding.
Stop it.
Miguel Cabrera said, essentially, doesn't mind the lack of appreciation or being doubted, saying the following, quote, "We always talk and we know what people say, but they're never going to be in our shoes. They're never going to play hurt the way we do. We believe in what we can do on the field. If we're healthy, we know we can do a lot of things. And if we're hurt, we're going to still fight. A lot of guys won't play if they have a hangnail. If people don't appreciate it, F it. Teammates appreciate it, and the league knows how you play. That's more important. If people outside don't care, why should you care what they think?" End quote. And Cabrera clearly speaking to, I think, fans out there that would look at him hobbling up and down in the base pass, a very down year last year productivity-wise, even though he's your boy and you still think he's going to be great.
I think he is.
I'm just curious if you're bothered at all that Miguel Cabrera, look, he's a prideful guy. He wants to play through injuries, but bothered that he would allow his pride to get in the way and not just shut it down for half a season or an entire season to go have surgery, get back to 100%, and then possibly make the team better, possibly make himself better and actually start to earn the money and be the player that the Tigers have seen most of his
help me
career.
out here then, Bogey. What is your specific complaint? Are you annoyed that Cabrera played through the herniated disc in his back last year because he thought whether pride or the right thing to do, or are you pissed off that he said if people don't appreciate it, F it? He didn't say F them.
Of course.
He just said F it, meaning like if people don't appreciate what can I do? All right. That's how I'm
Fair
wired.
enough.
That's how I'm built.
And I want to be fair to him too, because I do have a healthy appreciation for a lot of these guys that play through, various injuries. There's tons of, lingering things that go on throughout an entire baseball season.
Exactly. And those are the bigger crimes than playing through injuries, I think.
Absolutely. It's just when it gets to a point where clearly you're not the same player, especially in a year when the Tigers weren't doing anything, they weren't going to make the playoffs, why wouldn't you shut it down, get everything taken care of, spend the offseason rehabbing, and make sure that you come back 100%? And whether or not it ends up improving the Tigers, that's probably not the debate, because the Tigers are going to be really bad for a few years.
They got the number one pick anyhow. It didn't keep them from tanking.
Maybe, but if you are Miguel Cabrera, do you mean to tell me that you want to stay here and rot away while the Tigers are rebuilding? No. What if you go out there and have a 40 home run, 120 RBI season and bat, 330? Maybe there would eventually be a team out there that might want to dance with you and might want to get you.
Hold on. And the phone number is 248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. I feel like you're changing the argument on the fly. Forget about just in this specific example, he's clearly feeling wounded that people ripped on him that he was so bad last year. And a couple of times he didn't want. I remember asking him 3 or 4 times, like, obviously there's something wrong. I'm playing, so I can play. And finally, I forget what it was. Late in the season, he finally opened up to a bunch of media and said, "Okay, the back, it's been, it has been." I think he was just hearing all the criticism and wanted to explain it, but didn't want to apologize for having played through it. And now, do you want the guy to be honest 100% and say, yes, I'm hurting, and put me on the disabled list, I'm not playing?
Yes.
Or does he, but somebody who is that good historically, I will give him a 1-season benefit of the doubt that he thought he could play through it, all right? But
it was obvious that he couldn't. But
who cares? It didn't cost him a pennant run or anything. It didn't cost him anything.
No, but what if you had hope that he could potentially return to that form this specific year? The Tigers traded away every other star.
He didn't have surgery. He was told that it didn't make the back any worse. He didn't even have surgery. All it was going to take was an off season of rehab and building up the core muscles around the back. Now, I agree with you 100% if a doctor said, dude, shut it down. You're gonna make it worse. from everything we've been told, unless we've been lied to by the Tigers and their doctors, it wasn't making it worse. It was going to require an entire off season of rest and rehab.
Then why not give it an extra couple of months? It's not like the baseball, the off season is all that long, and it's also an incredibly long baseball season once it actually gets underway. In my mind, do what Michael Fulmer did. I get Fulmer wanted to come back and try to prove himself and pitch through the elbow inflammation. Eventually, no, you're out.
They
Go
told him no, though.
Okay,
they told him.
But there's the
and
difference.
He did
Hold
have
on.
surgery.
There's the difference, though. A young guy who's going out there and still trying to prove himself, and a guy that, apparently the Tigers still feel they have control over. They tell Michael Fulmer, shut it down, go get surgery, worry about next year. They wouldn't do that to Miguel Cabrera. And again, I think that speaks to an organization that is afraid to talk down to the veterans or tell them what to do. Even Victor Martinez was out there hobbling around.
Well, that's another matter
have been.
entirely, and I would have shut him down much sooner until the heart thing shut himself down. But it's a simple matter of vested how long you've played here. You're always a veteran who you've seen play through injuries for 10 years. You're going to cut him a little bit more slack than a young pitcher who has elbow twinges. I don't even think that's a fair comparison. Now, would you at least agree with me on this? Do you respect players more? Because it sounds like, oh, Miguel, you should have sat down. Do you respect players more that play through these things, even if they're not 100%, at the risk of making fools of themselves? At times, in some of those at-bats, he looked like a fool last year. He risked it. He put his pride on the line and kept playing. Now, you can say it's stupid or foolhardy, but don't you respect more that than the guy, I just don't feel right. My bullpen session, I just didn't feel it right. Let's push it back a day.
Yeah,
and they don't really have anything wrong with it.
That's why there isn't one right answer. Again, I said from the beginning, I have a healthy appreciation for guys that play through injuries, that deal with pain, deal with, let's be real, things that are going on outside of the clubhouse and off the baseball field as well. Mentally, things can wear on you. They are still individuals. Even a guy like Nick Castellanos, who opened up to the morning show about, his father and his battle with cancer, like those things do weigh on you. I have a great appreciation for guys that can put that stuff aside and go out there and play every day. But at a certain point, Miguel Cabrera played 130 games last year for the Tigers. He clearly wasn't the same guy. Why are you out there wasting time?
And I remember late in the season, he did keep talking about, I don't mind, I'll come back for the last week or two of this season. And they finally said, okay, no, you don't need to do that.
Exactly.
Listen, I get that part of it. But this is the difference. Two things. Number one, if you wanted them to lose more games, well, they already lost enough to get the number one pick. So that wasn't a problem. And the flip side, well, he was hurting them in a pennant run. Well, they weren't in a pennant run. So that's out. So I don't see the damage in it. And I want to make it clear. If people don't appreciate it, blank it. He's not saying blank them. And because I see some ticket text here, I really don't want to misrepresent this.
Yeah.
I don't think he's saying blank them to the fans at all. I think he's saying just generally, if people don't want you to play hurt or don't appreciate it, the hell with it. What can I do with it? Mm-hmm. That's what I did, and that's how I'm wired, basically, is what he's saying. And I appreciate that. And I am, even with all of his foibles, I am a Miguel Cabrera suck-up because I love greatness. I love greatness, and we have so little of it in this town. It's why I held out to the very, 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 very bitter end about not trading Justin Verlander, because we won't see that come this way again.
Yeah, and maybe a portion of my frustration with Miguel Cabrera could stem from him playing in the World Baseball Classic, was it last year prior to the season?
Yeah, well, that's another issue. You're right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's where the injury originally started, or at least started to happen.
He claims that's not where it started. He did say he aggravated it there, I believe, but he claims it had been bothering him before that.
Right before the season, as spring training is getting underway, he chooses to play in the World Baseball Classic, even though, look, he's a veteran guy. He's so important to the Tigers organization. Yeah, I have a little bit of an issue with him doing that and then getting injured and then spending the entire year, having to watch him hobble up and down the base paths. That's not fun.
All right, I have the phone number is 248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. Are you a big, strong, tough guy like me and say, yeah, play through it? Or you're a namby-pamby candy ass like Bogey and said, maybe you should have said, you know who you would have loved here? And maybe, I hope you remember Juan Gonzalez?
I do, yes.
They picked up the two-time MVP.
Yeah.
That dude, if he felt one tiny twinge in batting practice. Down for a week.
Like Roger,
the hammy got a little tight there. Down for a week.
It's like Roger Dorn in Major League.
Oh, my
Didn't want to
God.
do anything, any kind of tweak, issue. He was going to sit out. I fully understand that. But look, the phone number is 248-539-9797.
Respect it, too.
Ticket text is at 97136. We'll get to some of your phone calls coming up. 97.1.